sit in this chair if you'd like. I don't know if he'd mind. We're being joined now by the second seed Brigham Young Cougars, who improved to 22-10 on the season after an 85-74 victory over Loyola Marymount. BYU, with the win, advances to the West Coast Conference semifinals on Monday, where they'll take on third seed USF. That game time is to be determined and will be determined following all of tonight's games. We're being joined by head coach Dave Rose, along with student athletes Tyler Hawes and Kyle Collinsworth. Coach, we'd like to start with you, please. Your thoughts on the victory?
Well, first of all, I want to just congratulate Max and his team and the effort that they've had winning here at this tournament. I mean, it's unbelievable. They won 4 of the last 5 before we got him, and he's got a team that never quits. Is fight hard and give us all that we want every time we play them. So I think this is a really hard-fought game, and they do a lot of things that cause us a lot of problems, but our guys are able to fight through it. And we were consistently energized the whole game. I think we played with really good energy throughout the game, even the last part of that first half when we got into they got a nice run against us. I thought that we were still moving pretty well, and we got a little stagnant in our zone, but for the most part, I think our guys were extremely focused and dialed in, and really happy for the win. And both these guys did a great job. Tyler and Kyle leading us to victory. And with that, we'll take any questions.
We'll take questions from media members. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. Please tell us your name and affiliation. I'd like to start with questions for student athletes, please. Second row.
Scott Hansen with The Universe. Tyler, for the first time in 18 years, you didn't make a three-pointer tonight as a team. Can you talk about how you were still able to control the pace of the game and win this one?
Well, yeah, I thought we were able to get out in transition a little bit, get some easy buckets, and I was really proud of the way we battled on the offensive end on the glass. We rebounded the ball really well and got second chance points, and so I think that kind of helped make up for not making any threes.
For Kyle, this is your third good game against them this year, obviously this being the best one numbers-wise. Can you just talk about why you were able to be successful against them?
I just stayed aggressive from the start. That was a big part of our game plan, was to come out and be the aggressor. So, I've had experience playing big games and tournament stuff, so I just want to come out and be aggressive for my teammates and I.
Other questions for student athletes? Jay in the front.
Kyle, they went to that zone, and you guys seemed to handle it. Were you ready for that? And just talk about how you maybe handled that zone they went to.
Yeah, we were ready for that. We practiced that zone. I think the key was just getting it to the high post and getting inside, and then once we did that, all sorts of things opened up for us. So just attacking, getting in gaps and the high post.
We'll lay in the back.
This is for Kyle. Oh, Bailey McMurdy, KST Fox 13. Kyle, I have to ask, what did Max Good say to you after the game?
He just told me that, he's really proud of how I play. He told me I have a bright future and a future in the NBA, and he was really excited about just my future with basketball. And he said I was a great player, so I appreciate that. I look up to him. He's a great guy. We've talked a lot. Every time we play him, we always talk, and I respect him as a person and a coach.
For Tyler, can you kind of talk about what Kyle did for you guys in the first half? He had 16, seemed like right off the bat, kind of the lift that he gave you guys early on.
Yeah, he was huge right out of the gates. He was aggressive and seemed like he he crashed the boards right away on the offensive end, got a few easy buckets, and then was just knocking down shots. And so we kind of fed off his energy the entire game.
Jay?
Tyler, you said the other day you really liked this gym. You called it a shooter's gym. But obviously you guys 0 for 12. Do you still say the same thing, or, kind of how do you explain that?
Yes, I do say the same thing. The next shot's in. That's the way you have to look at it, and I still like it.
We'll open it up to questions for Coach Rose as well. Jason?
Dave, as far as getting this team ready for Loyola, you mentioned their run. What was key in this third game, and what do you feel like you did, especially defensively?
I think Kyle mentioned it. It is just our aggressive nature. I thought that we came out with a good game plan, but our guys were really aggressive. We're aggressive on the offensive boards. Anson Winder was really aggressive defensively. He ends up with the game with 6 steals, and it's a huge lift for us to defensively be on attack and actually get baskets in transition. And then, like as mentioned before, but I think Kyle had 3 or 4 putbacks in the first 10 minutes of the game for scores. And that aggressive nature, I think, carried over throughout the whole team. So that was a big part of our game plan. And then trying to control those 2 guards. I mean, Ireland and Payne are a handful. And I thought that defensively we did just enough to kind of keep them down so that, we could get the win.
Jerem?
Tyler, do you know the result of the Lone P game?
I heard we won.
What's that conversation going to be like with your brother, 4-time state champ?
I'm sure he's going to rub it in a little bit. But I'm so happy for my brother. He's had an incredible career at Lone Peak, and to win 4 state championships is pretty special.
So I go back to Kyle. Kyle, as far as the 2 weeks kind of off to rest a little bit, or a few games, I guess, where did you feel the biggest difference physically as far as what maybe you were able to do on the court today?
I think I was able to just focus on all areas of the game. I stayed aggressive on the offensive glass, and sometimes when I'm tired, I kind of step back from that. So I was able to stay aggressive on the offensive glass the whole game. So that was one thing that stuck out to me from the rest that we had.
Tyler, you've had a couple grinded out games with San Francisco. What are your thoughts on playing them next?
We're excited. I think we match up well. Obviously, they're a very talented team, and every game was a battle with them this year, and so I'm sure we're going to put together a good game plan and be ready to go.
Kevin in the second row.
Coach Rose, when Ireland walked off the court after he fouled out, you and a couple other coaches gave him a round of applause. Can you just comment on what it's been like to battle against him the past 2 years?
Well, it's actually been 3 years, and he's just a terrific player. I think that the 7 games that we've played, he's been a guy that has just been a handful. He is so good with the ball, and I think he plays with such confidence. He makes all the other 4 players on the floor better, and as a staff, we just really respect his game. And I think that it's always sad when a really good player, any player, ends their career. But he's a guy who I think has a real future in the game. But it's been kind of a pleasure to watch him, except for the times we play him. You see a lot of film and you watch what he does, and he's one of the WCC best players ever. I mean, I think he was on a first-team All-League guy for 3 straight years, which is tough to do.
Coach David, KSL. What has it meant to have Anson Winder in the starting line? Ever since you put him, it seems like he's just brought a really strong defensive-minded. I mean, his scoring's been nice too.
Well, I think that's what has really been a change in just the attitude of our group is that Anson's defensive presence has really helped us in specific areas. We put him in for to start on certain guys, starting with, with Pangos and Johnny D and, Stephen Holt, and that's kind of where we've been through. And then offensively, he's in Sharp from Portland. So, that was kind of the reason for us to make that change. But he's been so good. He's been so good offensively too. I mean, another great night from the line. I think he was 10 for 10 one night. Now he's 8 for 8 again tonight. So, Ants is playing his best basketball for us right now at a really, good time, and it's really had a positive effect on our team.
Last question.
For Tyler and Kyle, when a guy like Anson's out there getting the steal, especially in the first half, seems like he was getting the ball a lot on the defensive side. Is that contagious throughout the team for the rest of the team to kind of, okay, he's out there doing that, what can we do to help him out?
Yeah, for sure. No, we always talk about having active hands, getting our hand on balls, and Ants came out and did that. I mean, 6 steals is awesome, and we definitely fed off that energy, and a lot of his steals and his active hands led to good stuff in transition on the offensive end.
All right, BYU, congrats on the win. We'll see you Monday. We're being joined now by the Loyola Marymount Lions and head coach Max Good, along with student athletes Anthony Ireland and Alex Osborne. Coach, I'd like to start with you, please, an opening statement on the game this afternoon.
I want to congratulate BYU. Obviously, they're a class organization. They have great coaches, and they have terrific players. I happen to think Collingsworth is really good. I mean, they got a lot of good players, but it wasn't just today. I think Collingsworth's a special player. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, we just, We just didn't get it done against them today. Now they're just good. I don't know what else to say.
If you have a question from members of the media, please raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. Please tell us your name and affiliation before you ask your question. Questions for student athletes? Start with Jason.
Anthony, Jason Franchuk, Provo Daily Herald. BYU fans were even applauding just the end of your career. Could you kind of sense that at the moment, that you're getting that kind of applause, and maybe what's running through your mind as it winds down there?
I mean, to be honest, I kind of figured it would come, eventually. I never thought this day would come for me. I went through it last year with Ashley Hamilton. I myself, got a little emotional. Like I said, I never thought this day would come for me. And, I did hear, the fans, yelling my name, cheering for me. And, it was just a beautiful feeling. And, I congratulate them, for doing that for me. And, I just try to leave it all out there every night.
Other questions?
Alex, could you kind of talk about your journey at LMU and some areas where you've improved, both on and off the court?
I mean, definitely. I think it's been I wouldn't say traditional, but watching other older guys above me and how they dealt with playing off the court and on the court and off the court, and just everything. I've tried to learn from them the best way I could, but of course every journey is different. And when Anthony came in, I think I was a freshman, and I saw that he could go. I spent that year watching, and I was like, okay, this guy can go. Okay, so we're gonna get these wins, because we were still catching L's left and right. And I gotta say, it slowed sometimes when we started winning something, but we never gave up. We still caught a lot of L's, unfortunately, but we kept going, and we always believed that we can win.
Start with Kevin.
Could you just comment on what Anthony Ireland's meant to you as a person and then to the program as well?
Not really, because we'll be here for a long while. But I'll tell you what, he's got so much respect throughout our league. The officials waited for him after the game. The commissioner of officials waited for him after the game, because unfortunately he's got modern day athletic ability, and he's a grinder, and he's a tough little sucker. But the big thing is, you don't see him beating his chest or throwing up three fingers or doing all this outrageous stuff that kids do today with so many of these histrionics that frankly makes me sick to watch a lot of games. He has none of that in him. He just plays basketball. He works at basketball. Now, he was just told in the locker room he's going to work on getting this degree too. Were you not?
Yes, sir.
But I tell you what, I've had 12 guys play in the NBA that I've coached, and he's a special player, and more importantly, he's very confident, but he's not arrogant. He has humility. He respects the game. He respects the people he represents. He respects Waterbury, Connecticut. He respects everybody. He shows respect to everybody, and conversely, he gets respect in return. I don't think there's any question around. I've had 4 coaches in our league tell me he's their favorite player in the league. Favorite player in the league because of how he competes. And I think he's had more burden than any player in this league, no question. With the guys we've had go down, he's had to carry so much. I mean, this guy's 5'9", with elevator lifts in his shoes, but he has a lot on his shoulders. And he never complains, never. Now, he and Evan Payne got into a game because they're both intense competitors, and by 5 o'clock that afternoon after the game, it was solved because he reached out to Evan and called him. He reached out. But no, Anthony Ireland's special.
Anthony, you guys cut the 18-point lead to 7 with the big three-point play right before halftime. Seemingly, you would have had the momentum coming into the second half. What did BYU do? What do you recall there that kind of they were able to right the ship?
I mean, for pretty much the majority of the game, it was their transition, and coaches try to instill that in our minds that they're a really good transition team. So we tried to come out, try to get the guys together, come out and hit first out of halftime. But we didn't do that. We got down a little bit more, and we still continue to fight. That's what made me so proud about our guys tonight. We didn't hang our heads, and we just continued to battle. We pulled for each other, and that's what families do. And we did that tonight, and we came up short again, but I have no regrets.
Other questions for LMU?
Coach, the last 2 seasons, obviously, both last place finishes, a lot of bad luck, a lot of injuries. Can you just kind of comment on the future of LMU basketball?
Well, I think it's in great. Well, I mean, that's going to sound self-serving because obviously we're losing a heck of a player here, but we've got, I think we got a lot. LMU has a lot to look forward to. They've got a lot of really good players, and for the life of me, I don't understand these injuries. None of them took place in practice. They were freakish, and it's been documented the last 6 years we've had more injuries than any Division I team in the country. But you know what? Those are excuses. I don't like excuses. I don't care if we have to go to the Burns Rec Center and get 4 or 5 guys. They're told every game they're expected to win, regardless. But if they can stay healthy next year, I think I think they'll be really good. Really good.
Jason?
Max, you mentioned Collinsworth, and he had played a couple years ago, then went away for a few years. Had you heard of him before the start of this season? What do you really like about his game?
If I'd known how good he was, he'd have stayed away 2 or 3 more years. I just told Micah, go on mission and stay for 8 years. Maybe I'll be dead by then, but, Collinsworth's a handful. I mean, he's a handful. He's a multi-talented player. Some guys can score, some guys can do this, they can do that. This kid can play basketball. I mean, what did he go for, 23 and 16 tonight? 16 rebounds. He's just really good. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my staff over here. If you knew how close we were and how hard these guys work and how hard we work on scouting. We spent an hour and a half scouting yesterday. And we really work at that stuff. They spend hours and hours watching film and put a scout together. And it's really frustrating when things don't come to completion, but that's the way it is in life. That's the way it is in life. Everything doesn't always work the way you want it to, and that's the message these guys get all the time. Anything worth having is worth really working for. And if you really work, some good things will happen. If it's no guarantee, but things have a chance to happen, whereas if you don't work, nothing